Well, Celeste, would you be so kind and introduce yourself a little bit to our audience, and then tell us a little bit about your credentials?
Okay, so basically, I am a sister in Jesus Christ, and I became a believer at 5 years old. My family was Jewish, and of course, that made all sorts of interesting situations in my life. And the Lord has uniquely positioned me and all the various experiences that I've had throughout my life to converge for this period of time and of what I'm sharing and what His will for my life is. And I join lots of other bold and beautiful women that have stepped out from their homes and gone to the front lines. So I'm honored to be included in those wonderful women of faith. So my credentials are, so I started out in medicine and pediatrics, and I had a daughter with a lot of birth defects. So I went to dentistry just so I wasn't doing the same old thing all the time, because that can get pretty intense. She had life-threatening, like she's one of the first babies to survive open heart surgery. And then I went to environmental medicine and was introduced and mentored by Dr. Philip Branheim on natural solutions instead of the pharmaceutical industry. And from there, I took this wild and crazy step at the urging of the Lord. He said to do this. Actually, I started out as a volunteer to work for FEMA, and then I worked my way up. And then after 9/11, the events of 9/11, Homeland Security was formed, and so I had a minor role in Homeland Security, but FEMA and Homeland Security worked together. So my specialty was plans, but you kind of do a little bit of everything. It's kind of like being a mother. You do everything. You know, you wear many different hats. So I've done everything from exercises to incident command. Of course, I was involved in Y2K, 9/11, Hurricane Katrina, earthquakes, every type of disaster that there was, and planning for future disasters, including pandemics of what we see right now.
Okay. But I prayed about it. I'm ready to kind of share what you have to say. And let's go right into this. You know, as the almost whole planet is on a lockdown right now, and some people think that we're going to go still back to normal. The country's going to reopen as President Trump keeps promising every day, and people listen to it. They listen to a lot of pastors who are telling them that good things are about to happen. But then there is this other part, you know, of the other side of the people that are saying, no, the New World Order took over completely, and we are not going back to normal. So my question is to you, will we ever go back to normal as we were in December 2019 or January 2020?
No, we'll never go back to normal. The purpose of COVID-19, real or perceived, no matter what side of the fence you're on, is being used to inject global governance, a one world order. If you believe in the beast system, or if you just believe in the New World Order, that has been injected into the world. That's why the world had to come to an abrupt stop and inject, because they are getting every piece and fabric of society, from shipping to healthcare to our families, how we interact on a relational level. As you know, most churches and faith institutions have been hit really hard. You cannot assemble any longer except virtually. So we are using, the sad thing is, we are using the very mechanism that is controlling us to a greater degree every day to even have some semblance of meeting together like you and I are having this conversation right now. it would be so much nicer to do it in person.
Yes.
Yes. So,
well, let me just throw in a thought here while we're on this. I have one of the president's advisors is an individual I speak with on a regular basis. Well, I say off and on. And a lot of people were shocked when I revealed that he had told me, and this has been a little over a week ago now, that the president was no longer in power, that he'd been removed from power, and that, of course, there was a body that had replaced him. And he said that, oddly enough, Rothschilds, Rockefellers, Henry Kissinger, as he said, would have the joystick to the fighter pilot plane controlling all of this. So it almost seemed outlandish to a lot of people that I said this. And but he also confirmed what you're saying. And he said this kind of started earlier than they were planning, but the Pandora box is already opened. And as he stated to me as well, it will never be the same again. And he said, we'll start with a global reset, and then it'll just kind of have a domino effect of the events. And they're using it also for targeted disarming. He said they want to do it in a way to where the public doesn't know they're trying to disarm them, allow the events to be created, and then go forward. So just a thought to throw in there.
No, that's right. You know, you're like a second sword or second witness that affirmed that. And with that, you know, when we talked together, you said something happened March 13th, 2020. Can you tell people what happened on that day?
So first off, when I about the second or third week in January, I have my sources that I go to regularly, and you know, there's the annual conferences, and usually it's, you know, you look and you see there's a few things that change, but pretty much our life goes on as normal. But I went to the World Economic Forum that people can go to. It's in Davos. You can look it up in your favorite search engine. And what I saw horrified me, because me especially, dealing in plans, I saw that all the layers of plans that I was involved in coming to fruition, and they were being animated. They were coming to life. And it was, they have graphics there that are very easy to follow. You can see the tentacles going out and how one thing interacts with another thing. And like you said, like the dominoes. So in that pile of material, I went through it because I did a show on, there's 18 different platforms. And the Lord kept saying 18, but I didn't have time to research it. And then all of a sudden it came to me. I was walking my little dog, and it was 18, 666, you know, and there's 18 platforms. And at the top it says COVID, that they're 18 objectives, that they're going to change the world. And so buried in there is was this information about novel geometries. And so I had some sources, and I asked, what's a novel geometry? And it has to do with pi. So on March 13th was International Pi Day, and they were that is the day that President Trump went before the American people during his briefing, and he brought out like 12, 13, I didn't count them, CEOs, and said, okay, Walmart's going to do this, Costco's going to do this. And, you know, it was this, they're supporting this endeavor. We're coming together as a public-private partnership. That is code for global fascism. And so basically he was almost bowing, not to the degree that Obama did. Now, previous to that, both President Trump, Vice President Pence, the World Health Organization lady, and Dr. Fauci all use the word for the health, safety, and I can't remember if it's welfare or well-being. that is a code. And basically it is called an emergency clause. People that know about this code are politicians, lobbyists, government officials, and the military. And basically when you use that code, it suspends the Constitution of the United States. And all of them said it on multiple different occasions. And then when I exposed that this is what they had done, they changed their operation. And so one person would start the emergency clause and another person would finish the clause. And then they tried another type of strategy where they started the emergency clause, one person did, at the beginning of the, God bless you, at the beginning of the speech, and then finished it at the end. But you need to understand that we are now in a new world order. That's one. And so they are using like the Roman phalanx, like the Roman soldiers, where they're intertwined and they're operating as one. So it really does not matter if one starts it at the beginning, the clause at the beginning and the end, or if one person starts the clause and another person finishes it. They are acting as one unit. And that's really important to understand when you're deciphering the different codes that they are giving out.
Well, President Trump's, I mean, you know, if we can't call him that anymore, but he